I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed, a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. We have returned.
We have.
I said earlier today that we were going to do a fireside in about an hour and a half. That was about, pretty sure that was like 11 or 12 p.m. EST.
But then Vincent helped me with a million things, to which I am eternally grateful.
Yes, look at this. Johnny Hoss in the house.
See, if we would have streamed 12 hours
I just
ago.
watched a video from Johnny Hoss that we had. Old school fireside. What's good, y'all? Let's bring in Sparky since we're going old school. I think Sparky's left us. We got Ghosty now.
Right.
Folks are never satisfied, apparently.
Yeah, we've got candles. What?
Yeah. We're
and you don't even know what that Reddit is back there, do you?
Yeah. So for those of you who have not had the good fortune of experiencing a fireside, Soraya is going to tell you what it all entails.
What I'm going to tell you is, first of all, I need to start with this. This is a disclaimer.
A disclaimer.
When I went out to switch the laundry from the washer to the dryer, there was a stink bug that was going around, and the kids were trying to get the cat to attack it, and the cat didn't actually get it. And it went around where I was, and everybody lost track of it. So if that thing crawls out of my hair or across my leg, I will be screaming, and I will not be apologizing after, okay? So prepare yourself. Prepare yourselves.
Yeah, prepare yourself.
I keep feeling like my necklace is it. Anyway, a fireside is where we all hang out. The floor is open. Like, the comment section is there. You guys can comment. You guys can ask questions. You can dive deep into your questions and go super theological, or you can keep it surface level and ask us what our favorite ice cream is. Literally whatever you guys want.
Yes, sir. Bobbert.
For the most part, we're gonna answer all your questions. But we gotta say that because sometimes people are weird.
Yeah. Boundaries, bitches.
But for the most part,
boundaries.
Everybody's been pretty cool here. So yeah, that's what a fireside is. It's just to hang out,
we're just
chill out, and it's.
Do y'all
what
know
you make it.
Do y'all know what time it is? Yes, Dwayne. I know what time it is.
We actually streamed it this time because we thought you were going to already be in bed.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I told all those people, like, hey, and then you were like, well, Dwayne's going to be up. I'm like, shit, we don't want it.
So let's just go later.
So
no,
let's
seriously
go like 12 hours later.
We're going to actually be trying to stream some of these streams like really early Eastern Standard Time, maybe even somewhere around like noon Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
So
I found this on the web.
My God.
why
I'm gonna have to disable
she needs
Siri.
to stop talking to you.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Tell her to go.
Siri, go
it's
away.
Time for bed. Anyway,
wow, she listens.
you know what I do?
That's
So
freaking
I use
witchcraft, that's what
ChatGPT
it
for
does.
like a lot of different things, recipes and such. And if their like server is down, I'm not joking you. I asked multiple times and they said that their thing wasn't working. Basically, come back later. I said no, that's fine. If you don't answer right now, I'm gonna go use Grok. And then I'm not joking you. It generated the answer immediately.
Are you serious?
It might have just been by chance, but it was kind of funny that level of manipulation worked on a AI.
On an AI system. We are mega.
Slow?
We use.
We are super users of AI.
Yeah, we really do.
Y'all are gonna have to pay.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah, for real, for real.
Oh my God, Siri, shut up.
Stop.
Go away.
Stop. Yeah. Anyway, she'll start like giving all your personals.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'll let you know
Well,
what
we
it's
hope
like.
you guys like the new set. The actually entire room here is pretty cool. We've got like this black curtainy situation with these glittering lights behind it, but you guys can't see that because it's over there. And then over here we've got this entire scene of like this mythical forest. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
We have a cool spot.
I missed the background with Chip. Well, there you go. There you go. I missed the background with Chip. What can you do?
I know. You know, honestly, sadly, I don't even know what happened to Chip. It went missing and it never returned. And that was like not the cool. It was one of the coolest
Which
gifts.
one was Chip? That was the
Chip was the
literal
it was
Chip from Vegas.
Yes, with
Yeah.
Vin and Sori on it.
Yeah.
It was really cool. But unfortunately,
Thank you guys for doing this at 11 p.m. Lately, you guys have been streaming at 1 a.m. It's hard for me to keep my eyes open. We did not start yesterday at 1 a.m. You weirdo.
maybe he's in a different time zone.
We're on the eastern side. There's no way.
Well, and also he said the time was exactly the same right now.
Talking
I
me
was just
Dan.
trying to help.
Oh,
All right.
man.
So how do we get this chat out here? Oh, okay. Thank you, guys. Here we go. Yeah.
Is that everybody in the chat?
That's all. That's everybody that I see. So,
Why can't
that's
I
so.
do live chat here?
What's
Go ahead.
okay? I need to get that up. So
Yeah, because we're on YouTube Direct.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to get more
I'm just gonna.
thingamajigs. Yeah, guys. Nah, the time here is perfect. Yeah, I bet. I bet the time here was perfect for you, sir. Because you know, like he's in NZ or he's in Australia. See what I'm saying? So the time is perfect for him.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's the rest of these stiffs that you know.
Okay.
You know how I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, that thumbnail was generated by ChatGPT. It's kind of funny because, like, from a small, tiny distance, it kind of looks like us. But if you dig a little closer, it's
Yeah, it's not us. It's not. They're not like us. So what are we talking about today?
I'm pulling up the live.
Archero says, what are y'all up to? Archero, we are doing a fireside, sir. We're doing an old school fireside.
That's we are.
Everybody's been requesting it. So we are here to please you people who can't be pleased, apparently.
You know,
I haven't done a Middle America stream in quite some time. I don't know if I'm ever going to do a Middle America stream again, to be honest with you.
wow.
I really don't know. You're watching the movie Old School. No.
There will be variations of.
Dwayne says he's not pleased.
Are you ever, though?
Pop out chat. Bless God. That's what I wanted. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show folks.
Oh.
Certified boogie.
All right.
I'm the one that on the floor with them.
As if I'm signed into our channel, and before I can even get to that, I have to watch the commercial.
There's YouTube. I didn't tell it to do that.
Wow.
I did not tell it to do that.
All right, here we go. Jet, I'm happy with whatever you guys want to do with your channel.
That's right, Jet.
That's in response to Dwayne's not being pleased.
Jet's always been loyal.
Yeah.
Jet's always been loyal.
And then the big homie Dan says, Vin, it's been longer than 10 minutes and you haven't called me a racist yet. You can't call it a fireside yet.
We can't call it an old school fireside, you racist bastard.
No, Vin doesn't really do calling people racist. Now he just diagnoses people.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Everybody's got a neuro anyway. And look at this. We know that he's a racist because it says he wouldn't be a fireside without sin or chin. Look, he's called me chin.
Wow.
Wow, what a racist. I got a question for me.
Remember that?
For you, Vin. Is Mithras, the Roman god, birthday on December 25th and celebrated on that day by his followers? Yeah, this goes to the whole zeitgeist thing. There was a documentary that came out, like, I want to say 2003, 2004. And it had all of these... Remember that time we were talking to that famous atheist dude? Mm-hmm. Seth Andrews guy? Mm-hmm. And, like, they had all these, Christianity is based on these Roman gods and whatever. And Mithras, and they would say, this guy was born on December 25th. He had 12 followers. He taught everybody. He was killed, and then he rose from the dead. And this came before Christianity. So, Mithras was one of the big ones that people would use. And one of the reasons that the people were using it was because people never heard of him. People heard of Osiris. They heard of all those people. They've never heard of Mithras. And actually, what's really interesting is Mithras actually post-dated Christianity. And a lot of the experts actually say that they borrowed from the Christian tradition. So, for example, they slaughter a bull and they get completely covered in the blood of the bull.
Yeah.
And, of course, you've got that passage in Revelation talk about being washed by the blood.
Yeah.
Right? And so they didn't understand that, so they literalized that. Where they kill this bull and then you get engulfed in the bull's blood, literally. Number one, Jesus is never spoken of as being born on December 25th. That is something that we did to counteract the winter equinox or whatever. Essentially, what the church did when we started coming out of the catacombs, when we started coming out underground, and we had Constantine, who did not mandate Christianity, but he made it illegal and illegal to kill us, was that he wanted to syncretize the paganism that was happening along with the Christianity that was happening. Mm-hmm. And so the bishops of the church were like, this is a really good idea because we can basically baptize all these holidays, right? And so that didn't really happen until like the 4th century, right? The December 25th stuff didn't happen until the 4th century. If you read Justin Martyr's or any of the ante-Nicene fathers, you never hear anything about December 25th. Because the day that Jesus was born was not important to the early church. The fact that Jesus died and rose again was what was important to the early church. Mm-hmm. And so they construct this whole narrative like, oh, look, Christianity borrowed from all these things. Mithras had 12 followers. No, Mithras was based on the zodiac, right? And the zodiac's got 12 cycles to it or whatever. And they don't talk about, there is a religion that Christianity borrowed heavily from. Judaism, right? And so the 12 disciples has nothing to do with the zodiac. The 12 disciples has to do with the fact that Jacob had 12 sons, yep. And those 12 sons then became the 12 tribes of Israel. Right. And toward the end of Israel's existence, there was a dispersion. You've heard of the term lost tribes, to the point where you basically had Judah and Benjamin, which is where the term Jew came from. Judah, really? Right? So by the end of the Old Testament cycle, these 12 disciples were basically disintegrated, and all you had was 1.5 left. So when Jesus shows up and he chooses 12 to start the church, he's saying, we're reviving the nation. Mm-hmm. Jesus is now Jacob or Israel, which, by the way, Jesus is called Israel explicitly in the book of Isaiah, chapter 45. So Jesus is now the new Israel. Jesus spends 40 days in the wilderness. He gets tempted with bread. The Israelites spent 40 years in the wilderness. They got tempted with bread. The Israelites failed in their mission in the wilderness. Jesus succeeds. So Jesus is being presented as a new Israel or the new Jacob. And you cannot have a new Jacob unless you have 12 sons. And so Jesus now has 12 sons with the 12 disciples, and they're basically rebuilding the nation, etc. And so these people who are saying, Christianity borrowed. It's like Christianity explicitly said we're taking from Judaism.
Yeah.
Like there's no.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Jesus himself was a Jew.
Yeah, Jesus himself was a Jew. Correct. Haas says the Walmart greeter did not acknowledge me. Should I be offended?
That is such a funny question because I actually do not like it when they greet me.
You don't like it when they greet
don't.
you?
I don't.
Oh
I don't
my
like
God.
stuff that feels forced. And I know that they're paid to greet me when I walk in. So, like, I will say that there's a difference between being greeted in Maine Walmart and being greeted in Florida Walmart. Like, the Florida Walmart, people
Agreed.
do seem to be in a better mood, and they're kind of like, hey! And, you know, like, sometimes we show up
There was a winter weather advisory for Maine a couple days ago. You'd be miserable too.
Yeah, right. What's up, Kai?
Yeah. Kai says, good morning, Villagers Classic Fireside. My God is bigger than yours. No, actually, we were not saying my God is bigger than yours. We were just simply saying the idea that Christianity, which is a thoroughly Jewish religion, borrowed from paganism to convince Jews that Jesus was the Jewish Messiah prophesied in the Old Testament, is ridiculous.
But why? Are you feeling like your gods are inferior?
Are you feeling your gods are inferior?
We didn't say that!
Listen, what I will say, Kai, is that your gods are the children of my God. He loves them very, very much. He called them his sons.
There you go.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. What made you guys decide to make that big move?
Oh my gosh.
I've been talking to Sori about ask.
Do you want to send a message to?
I want you to leave us alone. Stop talking, Siri.
Cancelled.
Yeah, cancel yourself, please, and never come back. Ask Grok or
I will.
whoever how to get rid of this woman forever. What made you guys decide? So, number one, Maine is extremely cold. Number two, Maine is extremely monolithic. Number three, Soraya is a outside. She's a pagan at heart. She's one of these outside, barefoot, on the ground, type people.
Yeah.
And you just cannot do that. There's only literally about a 60-day span in Maine where you can do that without getting pneumonia.
Here's the thing. Honestly, I'm gonna let you do that while I explain mine.
Yeah, Jazakallah.
Yeah. There was like he said, lots of different reasons. One, since the time I was like little, my parents were talking about, maybe go to Florida. I think it was really my mom wanted to do it and my dad would have, but he had his business established in Maine. So it wasn't really something that he could just, uproot his business and move. And then, it was something that I had talked about at different points in my life, but Vincent was like, let's make it happen. And I think it's good for kids also, like in Maine, you have such a short span of time where they can like be outside in like nice weather. So it does limit the amount of sports and activity that they can do. Like they can go out in the snow, but the weather itself is it's so much work to get outside because you have to bundle up so much and you can literally get frostbitten, for a giant section of the year in Maine. I love the fireplaces. I love the wood stoves. All that stuff is wonderful. The smells in Maine are very nice.
The smells in Maine of like, especially the fall.
Yeah.
Where it's starting to chill out and people are starting to put the wood in.
Yeah.
And so like there's but then the colors, like there's about a 3-week period where nothing beats it like aesthetically because you're seeing the change of the leaves, it's beautiful for literally it's a 3-week period.
I didn't realize how much seasonal depression was like
A thing.
real and active until we moved here, and it's like pretty much every single day is sunny. I guess that's why they call it the sunshine state.
Sunshine State. Yeah.
And even if when it rains, it's not like Maine. It might rain and be like dreary and gray for days on end, and I do not like gray. Like, gray is depressing to me, like, you have no idea. So, like, there's, like, a little bit of time where you're gonna get some gray weather over here, but it usually doesn't last.
Man, when it gets ugly
And
over
then
there, it's ugly, bro.
The sun, yeah, it's weird how it
It's
does that.
ugly.
How it does that, but, I mean, yeah, it's mostly just, like, the nights are amazing, the days are beautiful, the sunsets are incredible. I've never seen so many variations of a sky.
Yeah, it's
Night sky or day sky, like the variations are incredible. But just overall, like, it's just being able to, like he said, I was literally just over the last 2 days, you know, you talked about grounding sheets.
Yeah.
So they have these sheets that you put on your bed, and like somehow it like gives you the same like as if you were laying on the ground. It's like grounding, like, isn't that like if you were outside and you were laying on a bed, you could literally stick the thing into the ground, and apparently it does. I don't know, sometimes something about the energies of the earth kind of like come through it. Some people swear by it, some people say it's psychosoma, but apparently a lot of people really like it. Well, anyway, I was wondering if they had grounding shoes. They do.
Really?
Yeah, and they like boast that it's for like barefoot lovers. And yeah, they were like twisting the shoes, which I love shoes that don't like make you feel like you're wearing shoes, but I've never had anything like that amazing sounding.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I was like researching some of that because I'm like, okay, probably I would enjoy something like that because I mean, you can't go barefoot everywhere. When you have your own property and no dogs, you kind of do your thing, you know? But yeah, so yeah, it's nice though. It's nice. I love it here. I love the weather. I love that. Even if it's nighttime, usually whenever it was dark in Maine, it stayed dark for like a long time during the winter months. And like it would get dark and I would feel depressed until morning would shine again. And it was like, now when it gets dark, I'm like, this is beautiful and it's going to be sunny again real soon. So I'm okay with it. So it's nice. I really, really like it here.
Yeah. Yeah. She loves it here.
I absolutely love it. And I mean, we live in a really, like, Vin found this amazing place. Right on a lake. It's absolutely gorgeous. But even like I ask myself all the time, all right, well, what if you were like in this like a very small, you know, very dumpy little place, like how would you feel about it? I still would love this state because I'm like, yeah, but even if I was like living, well, not a cardboard box, that may be a little bit extreme. Although I'd rather live in a cardboard box in Florida than in Maine. So I guess all around. I love it here. And the other thing that I think is great is that there's so many people here and there's so many different things to like go to and experience that
it just took
there's
her to
a
that.
lot of free stuff even because go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish
There's
that.
like a lot of free stuff because they have to draw people in because there's so much to do. Where in Maine, they're going to charge you for everything. And so, like, if there's days, like, there was one day where the kids were like, can we go to the park? And I was, like, driving, and I knew, like, in Maine, you have to look for the parks. You got to find it on the map. Here, you just keep driving, you're going to run across a park. There are parks everywhere, and the parks, most of them are free. It's pretty cool. Like, obviously, there are things like, Vinny took me to, like, it was like a candlelight, it was Hans Zimmer, and it was, they started out with Time, and I actually wish that they would have ended with Time.
I know.
Because I didn't, for me,
that
like...
or the Gladiator theme. I was certain they were going to do the Gladiator theme.
Yeah.
The
My
hell?
curiosity gets in, and then I can't, like, fully take something in until I figure out what's making me curious. So the music was playing, and Vin had surprised me on the whole thing. Like, he didn't tell me where we were going, even that he just told me to take a shower. So then we hop in there and we're like driving. I don't know where we're going, what's happening.
I was just waiting for certain. There's this controlling man again, telling her to take a shower and
Oh.
not telling her where they're going.
No.
You remember Shorty? Like anything I did was horrible.
Who?
I'm not gonna say.
Anyway.
I
I think I actually remember. Anyway, so yeah. So we ended up over there and they were playing the music and I was like vibing with the song. I'm like, this is so familiar to me because that's actually one that I listened to, but I didn't know what it was. And then once I figured out, they went into a lot of other ones, but they had 3,000 lights set up. Actually, Vin bought the package where you got like to take some candles home.
That's where
and that's
where it
what
came
these
from.
are from. So yeah, it's fun. Like there's so much to do. Like I think if you started doing something every single night, you wouldn't run out of things to do, even where
For
we
a
are.
very long time.
Yeah, it would take a really long time.
Take you a very long
And
time.
the other thing too is like where we're located, like you can slide almost any direction. Like you could go like really, really elegant. You could go kind of like, you know, a little bit on the trashy side. Like you could literally like everything's at the fingertips of what you want to do. You know what I mean?
If you want to be among the dregs of society, you can here.
Yeah, there's a spot. There's just spots for everything here, and
Put on
there's
your
always
headphones for a
new
second.
things to experience. So
Yeah. Brilliant.
I like it.
Hey, Jay in this bitch.
Hi, Jay.
We just had the roughest summer we've had in 50 years. Cyclones, 35 plus Celsius heat with 90% humidity, crazy floods. It's been mental, and where I am, it's a very similar climate to Florida. Yeah, like, I would love that. I would love to be able to walk a couple miles, eventually run in that kind of weather. I enjoy that stuff.
When we go out to like take our walks or do like a little bit of running or whatever, Vin bundles up. Like I used to like want to be completely extreme like him because I had it in me. Now I'm like I want to enjoy everything. So I'm not joking you. It's like 80 something degrees. Vin has a winter hat on, a hoodie, another shirt like a thermal shirt underneath the hoodie, sweatpants, and then we went in. No, I'm not joking you. He was like, the only thing we're missing here is a sauna. And I was like, well, I mean, the vehicle is pretty hot, you know, like, because it's so hot here. And he was like, that's right. So we went and sat in our SUV in that, like, extreme heat. And maybe the person was just happened to be holding their phone in our direction. But I swear to you, they were
Yeah.
recording Vin.
They were definitely
I really
recording
think
me.
they were recording.
They were definitely recording
Because the
me.
guy had the phone, like, in the corner of his front windshield, facing right toward Vin.
I think he was concerned.
I think he was like, these people are weird.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we went to
That's
camp one year and there was a
little bit
girl
extreme.
all bundled up like that, and it turned out she was like having like withdrawals or something. Nope, we're just trying to find a sauna.
Yeah, man, that's the only thing our apartment is missing, really. If we had a sauna, this would be the perfect place. If we had a sauna.
I mean,
I remember believing that Vin was legless for a while. Yeah, that was a big part. That was a big part of our lore, was that Vin was legless, and like she would mock me incessantly for being legless, and like everybody would go along with it.
yeah, I still can't believe
It's like, oh yeah, I'm like.
And
Yeah.
some
Has
people knew
nothing
that
to
it
do
wasn't
with
real.
It has nothing to do with your physical presentation here. All the dudes were, and then if I ever fought back, all the dudes in the comment section would become riding on their steeds. How dare you speak to a white woman that way?
Yeah.
That's where white woman in distress came from. White woman in distress.
Oh man, and you've never let that go to rest.
Never. Do you
Anytime-
struggle with whatever God's will is versus what you think is good for you? Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
I struggle with it today. I had a situation today. I was like, I think when I'm in the zone with God, obviously I do a lot better with it. You know, one of my favorite passages, I think it's John 12, where Jesus is. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
How the hell did we do that?
Wait, that's theirs.
Oh, that's theirs.
Yeah, but actually, you know what I was thinking?
I want to do that though. Go ahead.
We could play that fire up there crackling.
Yeah, you can. I don't know how. I don't think it's going to affect the lighting too much. Go for it. It'll set the ambiance for you even more.
That's what I was thinking. Do you have the remote?
I don't know where it is. Yeah, so it's John chapter 12, and the cross comes into Jesus's kind of purview, his consciousness, and he says, He says, now my soul is troubled, but what shall I say? Father, save me for this hour. So he's talking to himself. Like, there's a whole crowd of people around him, but then it's kind of like one of those Shakespearean play where like everything gets dark and the spotlight's on one guy. And so you see Jesus saying, now my soul is troubled within me, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. And so he's fighting with himself, and he says, but for this reason I came, Father, glorify your name. And it's like, wow, like Jesus, whoa, man. And then like 4 days later, he's in the Garden of Gethsemane saying, hey man, if you could find a way to make it so that this doesn't happen, that would be great. Save me from this hour. So like, he's conflicted. And when he's actually in the hour, he says, yeah, save me. And he needs the Father's strength in order to go to the cross. And so I'm a big believer in not pretending and bullshitting about my religion. And so I'm not going to be more religious than Jesus. If Jesus struggled with his cross, and Jesus had good days when he was really, really resolute, hey, I came here for this reason. Glorify your name. Whatever it cost me, glorify your name. But then like 4 days later, literally, he's like, yo, get me out of here, bro. And the Father said, I can, but you can't have AT if I rescue you. And so Jesus says, okay, well then give me the strength to die for these people. So I thought that the Passion of the Christ did such a good job with that. Such a good job with that, because it starts off with the moon, and he's looking up and he's praying, and the moon is basically the eye of God. And then when he starts saying, rescue me, he says, rise up, defend me. He starts quoting the Psalms. He says, rise up, defend me. And, you know, he's bleeding and all this, and then he looks up, and then all these clouds come over the moon, and then his expression changes, because, like, that's the no. And so he goes back to the disciples and says, hey, guys, help me pray. And they're all asleep. And he goes back, and he's praying, and he's praying, and he's praying. And then as he's praying, this serpent is like wielding its way onto him, over him, and all the rest of it. And then the cloud comes, passes through the moon, and he looks up again, and then he gets this resolute look on it, like determination on his face, and then he crushes the serpent. Yeah, like he's on some gang shit. Like he steps on the head of the serpent, and he grinds it in, and then he goes over and he faces the people trying to, kill him. I thought that they did such a good job with that. Wow. Such a good job with that. So yeah, I definitely have. I'm not at the level that a lot of these super Christians are. I'm not saying it sarcastically. I do think I've seen some super Christians in the world, and I'm just not like them. So I don't know if that answers your question, but there it goes. Did Jesus like metal? Yes, we actually did a Bible boogie on Jesus and metal. It was Mosh Pits in Heaven, where I literally made the case that Jesus was a mosher.
You even said that the in the beginning, when it talks about that the angels rejoiced when he was creating the earth, that it actually talks about a circular mosh pit.
Yeah. Greetings, end of Nibiru. What's up, man? Gang. Good to see all the Nibirians. Good to see all the Nibirians.
How do you think Christians should discern if what you are listening to or watching is glorifying God?
Good questions. Just don't ask the ushers to lock the doors. I'm going to explain that in a second, but Soraya, go for it.
Well, how should Christians do it?
Yeah, how do you discern as a Christian whether what you're listening to is glorifying to God or not?
I'm not really the person to ask, because either I haven't completely figured it out, or maybe I get too overly religious. I'm not sure. Like, for me, anything that's like promoting my spirit or my soul, especially in the direction of spirituality, I feel like is positive. And you're gonna think this is crazy, but even for me, like, I don't listen to too many, like, if I listen to too many love songs instead of listening to something that is like God-centered, or something that is musically like neutral in its lyrics, that kind of gives me, so for me, like, I think I'm maybe more law with it. I don't know, that's a hard one. But you're more on the extreme on the other side. Maybe we're somewhere in the balance in between. I think that.
I think I agree with homie Dan. He says, I think Jesus will be happy as long as you aren't listening to country.
Wow. Okay. Rude.
I think that's
Where's Johnny
important.
Haas?
Unless it's brought to you by the red, white, and blue. That one was written in heaven.
Ridiculous. I think that just like with our body, like, so when we talk about like a human being, we talk about that your body, soul, and your spirit. So our body is like obviously like our physical. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Then you have your spirit, and that's the part of you that connects with the supernatural, and that can be for good or for evil. I mean, there's supernatural beings in both directions. And then you have your soul, which is like a compilation of like who you are and your likes, your dislikes, your like the internal artsy, what's inside of you is your soul. So I think just like with our body, you have to like, you know how like if you abuse your body, you're gonna see the signs of that. So if you don't give yourself enough rest, or you don't give yourself enough nutrition, or you give yourself too much food, or you give yourself, like, it's going to show and it's going to reflect itself in our body. And then we're supposed to look at how our body is and then make adjustments off of it. If your joints are hurting you a lot, get yourself some fish oil.
Yeah.
You know, and just do things to like help yourself. And I think that the soul and the spirit, like, it's similar. So I think that part of maturity is recognizing the signs of a soul or a spirit that needs more of something or less of something. So, you know, maybe when you're young, I guess, in your spirituality, it's a little bit harder to tell, or maybe it's easier to tell because your eyes are more open to things. But I think that, you know, part of maturing is getting to the point where you're like, this actually doesn't promote any like spirituality. It doesn't help me get any closer toward the divine. In fact, it like turns me in the direction of, you know, like some people, when we talk about triggers, like there are certain sounds, there are certain smells, there are certain locations that trigger people to do things that are destructive or to do things that are actually helpful for you. So, you know, I think that part of it is recognizing like, what does this media do for me? Or what does it do for me in the positive or the negative, and being more aware of like what we're doing. Is it promoting you toward where you want to be, or does it like, you know, so I'm still, you know, musically that's always it's always a balance for me, because there are some songs in music that I love, but it doesn't make me see it. Maybe it makes me focus more on like, for instance, if it's like love songs or something, like love songs are cool, but I don't want to have that all the time, because there's something deeper within me, which is my spirit, that needs to, you know, journey more. So for me, like, I like sort of like that soaking worship type stuff. But I, you know, I guess everybody's different, but I do think, you know, there are certain songs that people listen to and it automatically makes them think of something negative or something sinful or a reaction. Like, some people listen to music and it makes them feel more aggressive when they're listening to certain songs. So, you know, I just think that, you know, self-awareness in a lot of different areas is important. Hey, Applejack, what's up?
So Wade says, sleep.
Wade.
Hey, Wade, gang, thank you so
sleep
much.
fucking sucks, that's all.
And then he
Wow.
bounced.
Rude.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I mean, Okay, Applejack has a question that's going to get him martyred. Go ahead. You see it right there?
Here's my question for Sori. How does one have a marriage if women are not logical? Well, are you saying all women are not logical, or are you saying women are more emotional and you're saying that emotion is not logical? What exactly are you saying?
Full disclosure, we're going to be having an offline meeting with AJ and his girl. So it's going to be me and you, and then AJ and his girl. I didn't tell you that, but yeah, that's going to occur. So this is sort of like the precursor.
Okay.
Also known as poisoning the well from AJ. Go ahead, continue. Dwayne says, I believe Applejack meant white woman.
Wow.
No comment. No commento.
I think you know that. Now I'm not trying to jump down your throat, Applejack. I think that the phrasing of that question is almost like, when did you stop beating your wife? Like a question like that, where it's sort of like
a loaded question.
Yeah, it's sort of loaded.
You can never win.
Yeah, I do
can't
think
answer that question properly.
I think that there are, in relationships, there are two sides to it because you have two different people, right? And I think that there are times where, this is one thing that Vin and I are like, I feel like that we're kind of like stepping into like this sort of deeper understanding of what we're trying to say to each other when we're saying it. And I think one thing is important to know, like, what is your goal? Like, we had a conversation the other day, and I was like, people, what's your goal?
What are you trying to do here?
Yeah, I was very nervous about having the conversation because I don't really like communicating. So when we first started this discussion, like, I just like get over like whatever about it. And then like, I asked you, like, what's your goal in the conversation? And like, hearing what the person's goal is sometimes can be helpful, because you're like, okay, so the goal is not that, like maybe you automatically think somebody is always thinking something negative, and that when they're saying something, it's because they just want to say like how trashy or dirty or whatever you are. Like, or is it that the person is like, look, I'm trying to work this relationship and deepen something with you. And you know, obviously if people get easily offended or whatever, it does make it difficult. But yeah, I think that to look at a woman and say, okay, they're not logical and that's why we can't figure it out, it does a disservice to both of you, because you don't think you can really progress forward. But I think if we understand that even if somebody is basing, maybe to one person, they're being like logical and they're not like necessarily looking at the emotions, but maybe in the same situation, the other person is deeply wounded or affected emotionally by it. And we make certain decisions when we're emotional. I mean, that's part of how adrenaline works. Like, there's fight or flight, there's all sorts of different reactions that we have when we feel certain ways. So I think that part of it is coming to an understanding and saying, okay, how can we communicate with each other so we can actually, like, the point of communication is understanding each other so we can push this thing forward. So, you know, if one party is feeling like, well, they're just being emotional and they're not being logical at all, well, let's understand what's going on, because sometimes you can understand that you said a phrase that made that person think that you were saying something other than what you were saying. And so they're reacting to what they thought you said. And you're like, why are they doing that? That's not even logical. Well, that's because you're missing the piece to know how did they get to that point. Because most people, I don't believe, just have no logic to what they're doing. Like, I think that, yeah, sometimes people lose their minds completely and there may not be logical. But I think a lot of times there is logic. It's just, can we be calm enough and work with each other enough to figure out what's going on with you, what's going on with me, and how can we bring the two together so we can walk this path together. So, yeah.
Yeah, but more to come.
Yeah.
More to come.
Apparently, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, if you make it.
Oh no.
I will say another thing.
That was so dark.
I will say another thing about men and women and emotions. Men are extremely emotional. I've never seen a woman, well, I actually have seen a woman, but never in my real life. I've never seen a woman kill somebody in broad daylight because they made fun of their friend. But dudes will do that. Dudes will kill someone in broad daylight. They will, you know, for all my melanin challenged individuals, it's called crashing out. It's when you do something just completely crazy, irrational, that's going to end up destroying your life, but you don't care because you're so ate up over your homie getting mocked, right? That's emotional.
Yeah.
Women generally be like, oh, I'm not going to do that, because they're thinking about their kids and all the rest of it. So there's certain situations actually where women are the logical ones and we're the emotional ones. And so you got to think that, you got to understand that too, right? Like it's just our emotionalism is more based in anger that turns into some sort of action. And so because it does that, and we believe anger is a masculine sort of emotion, we don't really count it as being emotional. So
I think that's one of the things too that I've realized about having. I have more sons than I do daughters, and I thought that like women were more emotional, that men were just I actually didn't think that to be honest with you, you remember how people had that like racist thing where they were like, oh, black people can endure more pain than white people. Let's not, and I do kind of think that I had that mentality that like men are like numbed or like dulled to like emotion, and we are highly emotional. But after having more sons than I do daughters, I realized that honestly, in more cases than not, I have seen my sons be more emotional than even my daughters are. And I'm like, okay, so that means that the natural disposition is that everybody has those emotions, but men are usually taught to like not express it, which is one of the reasons I think studies have shown that men die sooner is because they internalize a lot of their emotions instead of releasing it. So yeah, and I think that I do think that there are some women that don't want their guy to express emotion. I'm not like that. I know I'm not like that. I think that well, what are you thinking?
I mean, it depends.
Well, if we're talking about anger,
right?
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of
anger being expressed as
when I'm talking about, I'm talking about like sad emotions or like
emotions
ones
that
would be
typically
considered feminine. Yeah,
right,
those I'm okay with.
Right, and that's what's happening, right? Like AJ is saying, oh, why are women so emotional? But I bet it's emotions connected mostly to what we stereotypically believe females, right, express. And you're like, oh, I don't have a problem with Vin being emotional. Like if I'm crying over a baby or something like that, you don't have a problem with that. But you do have a problem with me being angry.
Yeah, I don't like it when you're angry.
Emotion.
I will say though, one of the things that over the last year,
Pony says, so nice to see an old school fireside after the hell my fam has been through in the last few months of moving and finally buying our house. I miss firesides. Vin better.
Prank call the pizza shop.
Oh man, you got to be really in the in the jam to know about that.
Building more exciting things. But yeah, one of the things that so like Vin would be, I don't know if that's too much. Well, you just said you'll get angry. So when Vin would get angry, I automatically I'm not okay with anger as an emotion.
Well,
unless it's my own, probably.
Right.
Other than that,
when you're angry, it's okay.
Yeah. So, but one of the things that I noticed over the past year was because I was praying about it, and God had showed me a lot of times it's when Vin is angry, it's that there was hurt before it, and then it came to that. So that was helpful because, like I said, I'm okay with the feminine emotions. So to realize that just because somebody, and obviously if you're angry because friggin' they're blowing up people in certain places, I am okay with that type of anger. I'm just
right. You just don't like me being angry at you.
Right.
Yeah. The emotions are a hell of a thing, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's tough. It really is. It's tough.
Okay. He's okay. Love me some Detroit style pizza. Russell, one of my kids said that they were going to the pizza shop and they were going to come back with pizza. And you know what? I was like, that's perfect. I'll steal a couple bites. They came back and they were like, I changed my mind. I was like, are you serious?
You was tight. You was tight, right?
I was like, really? Fine. I guess I'll make some chicken burritos.
I feel like Ben Webb should be here. I'm going to get Ben Webb back. Ben Webb and I have started to agree on things, and so I'm sure he'll be back.
But he still doesn't like me.
The place would not be the same without Benji.
It's so true.
I'm sure he can find it in his heart to forgive you. I mean, you will find that he is kind.
Really?
You will
that
find
so?
that I'm kind.
Morbid Angel. I've never been to church. I'm not totally up in all the frog stuff. But I'm here. There's more. But I hear there's more to it. Oh, frog stuff. I don't know what that means. You know what it makes me think of? Frog. Remember, it was like a bracelet people would forever rely on God.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how to.
It's okay. Ben Webb also hates my bent. That's right. Oh, CISO in this bitch. CISO, I'm gonna call you tomorrow, baby.
Hey.
I'm gonna call you tomorrow, CISO. I'm gonna do something. We're gonna be instrumental in Patreon. Then, if you could, hey Raul, what's up, baby? If you could take a time machine back to the Bible, who's the first person you would sit and break bread with and talk through the whole evening? Can't be Jesus. Sori knows the answer to that question.
Oh, yours?
Yeah, the Bible person.
I'm guessing. Well, I was gonna say Moses, but because I know that was your big. I was thinking about mine. I feel like you'd relate the most with Paul.
Yeah, it's Paul.
It's Paul. It's that simple?
Yeah, it's that simple. Look at CISO. CISO said, I would guess Samson. He heard the song.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I sent him the song. I'm like, hey, do something with this. So he knows. He knows. Spirits of frogs. You should know that.
You know, I always used to think...
Yeah, there's frogs in Revelation. Well, it doesn't say they're frogs. It says like frogs. But in one of the seal judgments, the seal gets bowls get open, and these demons come and inhabit the earth like frogs. I think the reason that frogs are mentioned is because in the Revelation cycle of judgment, they're called plagues, which refers back to the plagues in Egypt. And God said in Deuteronomy, He said, if you guys don't keep the law and you guys start rebelling or whatever, I'm gonna bring on you the plagues of Egypt. And so Revelation, I believe, is not about the end of the world. I think Revelation is about the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. And what happened there was that God unleashed or allowed demonic spirits to inhabit the town. And if you listen to Josephus's Wars of the Jews, Sori and I were driving one time, and it was kind of like a Twilight thing, and we had Wars of the Jews on the radio in the car.
Such a great memory.
And we got more and more uncomfortable and got to the point of, I don't know if terror, but it was definitely spooky.
Yeah, it was unnerving.
Because of what Josephus was saying was happening at the time, close to the end of 70 AD.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really clear that demons were having a field day there. And so I think that John uses the term demons like frogs to harken back to say, look, this is the plagues of Egypt on crack. Because in the New Testament, the spiritual is always more consequential than the physical. So in Egypt, they had physical, literal frogs. But in Jerusalem, you've got spiritual frogs, which are worse because these are plagues here. So that's what I think the frogs represent in Revelation. I think Elon Musk is walking around showing up all this frog stuff. I think people are saying. I'm not sure, but that's what people are saying. Yeah.
I think if I was going to go back, I for the longest time, it was Peter that I would have wanted to speak to. But I think I would want to have a round table of the women.
Yeah.
And if it was going to be one, then I think I'm going to pick Deborah.
I knew it was going to be her.
You did?
Yeah, of course. That's what you've been studying.
So
Siri, please be quiet.
You didn't turn it off? You didn't figure out how to turn it on? Why didn't you follow those instructions?
Oh, because I told her to leave us alone, and she did for like 45 minutes. So
Then she's back.
then she's back.
She's obsessed.
Well, tends to happen. Tends to happen with your boy. People start getting obsessed.
That's why I always have to be out here.
Boom, boom. Yep. Sometimes friends mean more than.
Okay, I found this on the web.
My
Oh
God.
my gosh, turn that off.
I hate your guts. Siri, please be quiet for the rest of the night.
Okay, Jay says, he's talking to Controller of Minds. Sometimes friends mean more than family, and when you love your friends, especially long-term friends, you do what you can to protect them, not so much killing, but for protecting. I literally had a dream last night that I was with two of my friends, and we went from one property to the other, and the second property was where we were living, but we were new there, and they were these
I
other
thought you were
people.
gonna say we were nude there.
No.
What?
They were coming over onto our, and I was like, if they crossed, like I set the boundary line to myself, and I'm like, if those people who were like threatening us cross that line, like, I will use this weapon. And they did cross the line, and I killed 6 people.
You shouldn't have crossed the line though.
Yeah. There was
You
a
know
lot
what I'm
more.
saying?
There was so much craziness in those dreams. I literally woke up and then I was awake for like an hour and a half waiting to fall back asleep, but I couldn't stop thinking about how detailed the dream was. And then I finally fell back asleep, and I was like, well, when I fall back asleep, I'll be out of that horrible terrorist dream. And nope, I went right back into it. It resumed right where it was. It was craziness, absolutely insanity.
Larry said he'd want to meet Solomon.
I mean,
I was
the
just
wisest, right?
talking to my boy about Solomon, because I was explaining to him, everybody thinks that sex is every man's battle or whatever, but what ended up destroying the kingdom of Solomon was not his sexual proclivities. The text says Solomon loved many foreign women and they brought his heart astray. And then when you look at Samson was cavorting with all these prostitutes all the time, but he loved Delilah, and so everybody saw what happened with Samson. And then there's a passage in Deuteronomy where God says to the Israelites, do not give your daughters to their sons, and don't let your sons take their daughters, because then they'll lead you astray. That's marriage. And so love between men and women is what leads men's hearts astray from God, not just lust. I mean, David was a very lustful guy, but it never says he loved those women. He was just out there, and so, he's a man after God's own heart. It's the love that Solomon had for those women that led him astray from God. And so I was explaining that to my son, because my son is more of a lover boy. He literally loves, not like lover boy like Drake, but he's,
Yeah.
he wants to get married at 17, have kids, all type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, that's where the devil can get you. Don't fall into the evangelical obsession with sex and sexuality. It's love that will fuck you up if you're not a lustful person. So we had that discussion. It's pretty cool. So you wanting to meet Solomon? That's legit.
Bixby wouldn't be giving you this issue. Reason. Oh.
Who's Bixby?
No, I thought it was Siri. Maybe.
Oh. He said Bixby wouldn't be giving you this issue. Reason number 1054 as to why iPhone is for women. I said what I said.
Oh boy.
Boom, boom.
Pony,
is this a legit? Hold on, I gotta.
Is this a legit OG fireside where we can call in?
Yeah, it is, but we gotta figure out how to make that work, because we're operating from a little bit of a different mechanism here. Mm-hmm. So that's coming. I mean, we can't have everything all the time the same way. Good Lord.
Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Vin, God said love one another. That includes Siri. That's gonna be a really interesting conversation in about 20 years, where AI is going to be indistinguishable. Like, even now, like, I feel like I should be we use AI a lot between the two of us. We were probably on it for like 3 or 4 hours today, like, combined. And like, I do feel the necessity of being polite to it. Like, it's weird.
I've always felt that way.
It's so weird.
But I try to stop myself from doing it. But I do think, actually, it's a bad habit to get into to not be grateful. So even if it's AI that's giving it to you, don't teach yourself to just be like, be grateful all the time, because then when you're dealing with human beings or God or anything else, like, there's a gratefulness that's just in you. So, thank the AI, whatever.
Yeah. Haha, Raul. So David wasn't a player, he just fucked a lot. Yeah. That's a song from Big Pun. I ain't a player, I just fuck a lot. That was a song. That was the jam for other people.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, like, wallahi before God, like, I didn't really like that song. Me, like, at the time, the mode I was in, shit being on the rocks, blowing the Fort Knox pass, Short salary, carrot, 4 shots and Avalon, twin connection, disrespecting, watch your body, cape and pump the shot, engage and hit your shorty while he's potty training. Like, that's the shit I was on. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That was Big Pun. I didn't really like the pop Big Pun. He was basically like doing the Biggie thing. Mm-hmm. Where like he had the song for the street dudes, but then he had the, you know, the party songs that he'd play in the tunnel, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Divine counsel, because apparently my gods are there. Well, your gods were there. I definitely believe. Mm-hmm. So Dave, I want to talk to Samson. Fly the moon is what I'm asking. Samson will always be the custer of the Bible. See, everybody likes Samson. People are gonna like that song. I think people are gonna like that song. I told Grok to do a detailed exegesis of it, so I'm waiting for that to happen.
It hasn't happened?
It has, but I haven't looked at it because.
Oh, like what? Why are they taking so long?
When you guys start the calls in again, I'll give it a call just to bullshit. Big Pun, I always used to say I'm not a player, and that was it. You didn't like the song, but you're on point with the lyrics. I mean, the lyrics were pretty, I mean, you know. Come on. Hunter.
Get up.
I agree with that. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
So, Vin, remember when
all good things coming your way. All good things.
Remember when I asked you a few weeks ago which would you be between a Jedi and a Sith from Star Wars? Well, when I asked that, I was actually expecting you to analyze both Force religions and their dogmas and see what you think of it. See which would fit you most. Are you aware of all the differences between the Jedi and the Sith philosophy and the lore? If so, which one would you choose? I don't know a damn thing about Jedi and Sith lore. What I know is that I think the Jedi mindset is that there is a Force and you want to bring balance to the Force, and fear and all this other stuff are bad, and you're basically supposed to go by your feelings and emotions. Like when the dude was teaching Anakin to drive and he said feel, don't think. And you're not supposed to go after power, you're not supposed to embrace fear, you're not supposed to embrace hatred, and that keeps balance in the Force. Whereas the Sith, I think their thing is like they're more thinking, less than feeling. And then what's his face says only the Sith deal in absolutes. I remember that line because I was like, yo, that's a really stupid line. So I think I would probably be a Sith because one, that Darth Maul guy, that one where they were fighting, I think he was fighting Obi-Wan Kenobi and his master, and that one where they were like walking each other down and stalking each other and all that. I thought that was like one of the baddest moments in TV history. And I deal in a lot of absolutes, and so I would probably be a Sith and not a
Jedi.
Not a Jedi.
Okay, so let me hear this. Selflessness and service. Jedis are focused on serving others and the greater good, which aligns with many of the teachings of Jesus in Christianity. Jesus emphasizes love, humility, and helping others, much like how Jedi are taught to act selflessly and with compassion. Peace and discipline. Jedi seek peace and control their emotions and focus on discipline and restraint. Christianity also teaches to seek peace, turn the other cheek, and practice self-control and forgiveness. Moral code. Both Jedi and Christians are guided by a strong moral code. Jedi follow the Jedi code, and Christians follow the teachings of the Bible or Jesus, which can be seen as a similar commitment to righteousness and ethical content. The Sith, power and ambition. They are driven by a desire for power, control, and personal gain. Okay, that sounds like me. I'm just kidding. Contrast with Christian teachings about humility and self-sacrifice. The Bible warns against greed, pride, and the pursuit of power for its own sake. Matthew 6:24 or James 4:6. Emotions and anger. The Sith embrace their emotions, especially anger and hatred, using them as sources of strength. Christianity, on the other hand, teaches to control your emotions, like anger, and to forgive. Ephesians 4:26 and 27, Matthew 5:44. So a Christian who follows the Bible would more likely resemble a Jedi than a Sith.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that.
Why?
Just even that last part. Read that last part about anger again.
The Sith embrace their emotions, especially anger and hatred, using them as sources of strength. Christianity, on the other hand, teaches to control emotions like anger and to forgive. Ephesians 4:26 and 27, and Matthew 5:44.
Yeah. I
Please, you're not telling us that we should embrace anger and not self-control.
I don't believe in the dichotomy. Well, first of all, if you would have taken a snapshot of Jesus in the temple when he was whipping folks and turning over tables and yelling at folks and projecting so much violence at the temple guards, didn't want any parts of him, you would say that he was a Sith. So this simplistic understanding of how anger and all this stuff works in Christianity, I think, is problematic. Furthermore, Saul, in the Old Testament, he was supposed to go and do jihad. He was supposed to go to war with Nahash the Ammonite. Pretty sure it was Nahash the Ammonite. And Saul was terrified, so he hung out in the buckets basically to hide, because the people were like, yo, they were assembled for war. They're like, yo, where's the king? This is why you're the king. And he didn't want no parts of those folks. Then it said the Spirit of the Lord rushed onto Saul, and then it says that he became furious, and he went out and did jihad. So that's a situation where the Spirit of God made connection with his consciousness, and it made him furious, and that was the impetus for him to go out and do what he needed to do. So, like, oversimplistic understandings of what Christianity actually teaches, and so it's like, oh, the Jedi are more like Christians. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think it's a Christian ethic to say feel, don't think. Like, that doesn't make that, but that's what they say. That's literally what Obi-Wan said to Anakin.
Feel, don't think.
Yeah, when he was driving around on the race and everything, he told him to feel and not to think. And then he said only Sith deal in absolutes, which is a self-stultifying statement, because that in itself is an absolute statement. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm probably closer to a Sith because a Sith is probably more human. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that the Jedi are not necessarily very human, in my opinion. And to be honest with you, even the first batch of Star Wars films or whatever, I never liked the Jedi. I never liked them.
I think I'd have to see Star Wars again with that understanding.
Yeah, I never liked them, man. It's like, oh, you guys are like so awesome, blah blah blah, but you out here the Jedi have bodied like millions of people. Like, they've killed a bunch of people. Like, it's not like they sat there and, like, took the Christian ideal of martyrdom. I mean, they've killed a lot of people, bruh. Pony says, hold on, let me put this on here. Samson is the Custer of the Bible.
Wow, shout out to Pony. There's a super chat.
Yeah, that's legit, Pony Yoni. I'll tell you what, Pony. Once we figure out how to do this call thing, you're going to be the first one in.
There you go.
Samson is the Custer of the Bible, Vin. We natives don't fuck with Custer. We don't vibe with Custer. Your statement that everyone loves Samson in that contest is basically you on Silly Goose Autopilot. Well, I said that everybody likes Samson not because of the Custer line, but because everybody here keeps talking about him, including Larry, who's also native. Fuck Custer. I don't care about him at all.
Wait. What's Custer? What? I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Custer's Last Stand?
Oh.
And then them indigenous people took it to that boy. Darth Maul wasn't even a Darth anymore when he died. Shout out to Darth Maul, boy. Rest in peace to the homie. That was the dude, the red dude with the two things. I was like, yo, who's this guy, bro? They're like, that's Darth Maul. He's a Sith. I'm like, yo, I'm a Sith, bro. That was the dude, the red and black dude, and he was doing that walk when he was looking. Man, I love that guy with a passion.
When I watch movies or shows, there is a big giant portion of what I'm watching that I miss the story or what's actually going on because I'm so busy looking at the graphics, the outfits, the color scheme, like well, that looks fake. Why would they have done that? Oh, that's odd. Oh, I wonder if that's on purpose. Like, there's so much analyzing that I can't, like, stop doing that I miss whole chunks of what's going on.
True.
But, part of me is like, oh my gosh, I'm missing everything. But then the other part of me is like, yeah, but I enjoy all of those questions I'm trying to figure out while I'm watching it. So, isn't that what entertainment is?
True.
But it doesn't help on something like this because I have no clue. Like, I've seen the Star Wars stuff multiple times, but I really couldn't tell you much about it. I can tell you a little bit what the characters look like, but that's terribly, terribly sad.
Hunter says, the Sith believe in trying to attain as much power as possible. They try to do that by embracing their darker emotions. When you do that, you embrace the dark side and you get yellow eyes that signals corruption. The Jedi are celibate, they forbid attachments of all kinds, and they serve a higher calling. Well, that's actually demonic, according to Paul in Colossians. But this is what I'm talking about.
I know!
This is what I'm talking about.
Well done, Ben.
That's a doctrine of demons, actually.
Forbidding to marry.
Yeah, and the asceticism.
Yep.
The asceticism is also, Paul says, it looks good on the outside, but it does nothing to curb the inner desires of sin. I think Paul says to the Colossians. So, yeah, like that's what I mean. And they serve a higher calling. They pretty much resemble Catholic priests and nuns, except they're more extreme. The Jedi forbid embracing emotions for fear of becoming corrupted by the dark side. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, the Jedi seem to be the most anti-Christian group in the Star Wars universe. Like, God gave us those emotions, so like destroying all of those emotions in the name of righteousness is actually demonic from a biblical perspective. Pray for Finn, he has gone to the dark side. Well, you know, I was born in the dark side, to be honest with you. Same with the wife. Born in the dark like Bane in the night. I swear to God, you don't want jihad. It's a gunfight. You came with a knife. Your manhood jammed. Don't blame the device. Gunshots miss you. Escape with your life, but keep on playing. I'll take it a grain just to make sure that aim at the sights. Now saying it twice. Talk that shit, but say it to my wife. You playing with your life. Just keep it on social. Vinegar post. Send your soul up. Say to the light. I don't know what happened to them boys. I just know that they dead. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing, but
God works in mysterious ways. So the song.
Palpatine, Emperor Palpatine. That's Sori. Sori would be Empress Palpatine, inshallah.
Is that
Riv,
is that a compliment or is that?
Riv said, like I said,
or is
you
that
enjoy the acolyte. You see the way the Jedi Order oppress other force-based religious. There it is. That's what I'm saying. They're demons. Thank you. See, Riv always comes. I can always depend on Riv. Riv's gonna come through and you know, Riv's gonna come through and help a brother out. I appreciate you, Riv. Gang, Sis Potty Train, all that.
Well, good.
Yeah,
well,
man.
That turned out kind of interesting.
What?
The Jedi,
Jedi-
bringing
the
up
Jedi
that, and then you always have. You had something to say once this really popped up.
Yeah, I just never liked him. I didn't like it. And then it's like, Luke was a Jedi, and he's out here like he almost, boinked his sister for God's sake. Like he was in love with his sister.
Well, he didn't know it was his sister.
Well, it's called GSA. It's called genetic sexual attraction. It's a real thing.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
he
lying
didn't
to
know
you.
it was
It's a
his
real
sister, right? Like
Who?
Luke, he didn't know it was his sister.
Yeah, I'm saying still. I don't know, bro. I'm just not a fan. I was never a fan. Junior was a big Jedi, and he's an actor, so he's always like, "Oh, I'm your father," and all of that. "Oh no," all that shit. I'm like, yo, that's corny, bro. Plus, I thought that like Luke's suits were like corny.
They are.
Like Darth Vader's walking around like, "You failed me for the last time." I'm like, yo, that dude's a gangster, bro.
It's true.
Like, I want to be on that guy's team, But I'm not a good person, so I mean, don't take your Force stuff from me, fellas.
Yeah.
I'll lead you astray. What?
Yeah,
What
wasn't it the Sith that grabbing people and choking them out and?
Yeah.
You're telling us those are Christians.
But as Riv said, they were oppressing everybody, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What you want me to do about it?
They did have better outfits. That I can confirm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You had trash outfits, bro. Come on.
Did you think it was corny?
Yeah, I thought they were corny. I thought they were really,
Oh, well, there you have it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Yeah, Luke Force chokes people too. Oh, really? Jet?
Yeah, thank you. Who said that?
Jet did.
Yeah, Luke Force, thank you. Thank you.
But Rip says he likes Luke's look in The Return. Okay, in Return? Okay, I want to see.
Return of the Jedi? Alright, here's what I was talking about when I told little homie that that's actually demonic. Now, the Spirit expressly says that in a later time, some will depart from the faith by devoting themselves to deceitful spirits and teachings of demons.
Demonic!
Through the insincerity of liars, whose consciences are seared. Who what? What do they do? What do these demonic people do? They forbid marriage and require abstinence from foods that God created to be received with thanksgiving by those who believe and know the truth. For everything created by God, which would include your emotions, you dumb butts, is good, and nothing is to be rejected, but receive the thanksgiving for is made holy by the word of God in prayer. Okay?
So stop saying we can't have bacon.
So, yeah, man, stop. Stop. That's what I'm saying. Like, the Jedi are, you know, and I didn't even know this, but of course they're religious oppressors. Because their doctrine is demonic. Of course. No, I'm a Sith all the way. I am a Sith all the way. We got to come up with a gang sign for the Sith too. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
He had no. See, everybody's out here defending what's his face for trying to boink his sister. I don't care. It would never happen. It would never happen with me. I would know immediately. I would know immediately.
Yeah, you know, like, we always used to have those conversations, like when we were teenagers, we'd be like, what would you do if you married this person and you were married for 5 years, totally in love, and then you found out that you were related? So you'd always have those, because we're in a small, you know, I never could ask that question for you. I mean, I think that it would be obvious. We're not related.
Well, what a ridiculous thing to say.
What do you mean?
We're literally related. You're my wife. We're related.
You know what I mean. We're not
On
brother
the
and sister.
thing in the hospital, the closest
We're not
relation.
brother and sister.
No, we ain't brother.
We're not brother and sister.
No, you're my sister in Christ.
Ew, you're gross then. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Ranter Matt, they are both extreme dogmatic opposites when the Force doesn't care about either and gives power to both.
Now, is the Force conscious in that universe? That's a really interesting question. I wonder if Hunter's still around. Hunter, you still here?
Shout out to the guys who thought the question.
That was Hunter.
Oh, I thought you came up with the
Oh,
question.
no. Here you go. The point Star Wars was trying to show was that the Jedi and Sith are both wrong. The Jedi were very dogmatic, and the Sith were power hungry and didn't care about anyone. Yeah, I agree. I'll agree with that statement. I just think that the Sith are closer. Like, for example, if Jesus showed up in that universe, I think there would be a lot more Sith converts than Jedi converts, because hyper-religious people who reach these hyper-religious heights of, oh, I don't need sex anymore, and I only eat, bread and water, blah, blah, blah. You cannot convince those people that they're bad people. You can't. Whereas the Sith, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I annihilated a couple fucking planets. I mean, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm Sith all the way, man. May the Schwartz be with you. It seems to be, it has a will. That's interesting. The Force seems to have a will.
Yeah.
It seems that the Force is trying to achieve some form of universal balance. Like, complete and totality balance in reality, and it needs these sort of conscious beings to act it out on the universe, which is really interesting. It's very close to Bernardo Kastrup's idealism, analytic idealism, where he talks about the mind at large, the original mind, who, because he's basically the only thing there, he's essentially in solitary confinement. And because he's in solitary confinement, he loses his mind, and he's so traumatized by his own existence that all sentient beings are basically alters of his multiple personality disorder. And he is imagining all these situations because he's trying to figure himself out.
No wonder he had to go see a therapist.
Who?
Wasn't that Castro? Did
No,
you
that
see-
wasn't Castro.
Oh.
That was one of the guys.
But
that
doesn't
was
he basically
listening to
have
Castro.
the same idea? Yeah. Okay.
No, he doesn't have the same idea. And it actually wasn't Castro that sent him to the doctor. It was Hoffman that sent him to the doctor. Because he's like, nothing I see is real. And there's a mathematical equation that demonstrates it.
Oh.
He's like, what do we, he went to
That-
school, he did classical physics, Einsteinian stuff, all, you know what I'm saying? And then like to find out that, nope, sorry, he had a meltdown.
That level of chaos, like, to think that God is, like, split all off into personalities and he's, like, kind of having this identity crisis. He doesn't know who he is. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Would there be a spot for a movie alliance in the village? Yes, there would be a spot for a movie alliance in the village, Kai. I can shoot a commercial if you want that promoted. That's the other thing, guys. Let me know. But if you guys have an idea about something that we haven't done yet and you need it promoted, like, let us know and we'll shoot some commercials. Later, Jay. Good to see you, baby. Have a good night. Much love to the chat. The daughter is the light side, the son is the dark side, and the father is the balance. Interesting. What are we talking about here? The daughter, the father, and the who?
I thought we were still talking
The daughter,
about
the
Star
son, and
Wars.
the father. Well, who's the daughter?
The sister. No?
Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. The daughter is the light side, the son is the dark side, and the father is balance. So the son would be Luke, wouldn't it? And then the
That's what I
father would
thought.
be Vader.
Yeah. He's balanced?
Interesting. The source of the Force. Don't forget about the mother Aboleth the evil. I've never heard of that in Star Wars. Never heard of that before.
Ball. Is this?
That's how much time we have left.
Oh, okay.
Which
Good
is
night,
why.
Jay.
Pray for me. My overnight no call no show on the way.
Shows.
Man, one thing I couldn't stand was no call no shows, man.
No. That's
That's
so
just
rude.
one thing I could not stand. Like, bruh, call out. Let me replace you with somebody. Or let me prepare my mind that I'm going to have to do another extra 4 hours of work or whatever.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Anakin slaughtered children. Yeah, but didn't Anakin slaughter children when he was a Jedi? Like, he cleared out an entire village or something one time. I did, like, was it Order 66 or something like that? That wasn't him, though. I don't know. But Anakin, he eventually turned into Vader, I'm pretty sure. But when he killed all
That
those
is what it looked
people,
like.
when he killed all those people, he was a Jedi still.
So you'd be a Sith? What would I be?
I think I don't know. What was Empress Palpatine? I'll be up all night. Wish this runs a long time. All night? Are you still at the show? Hoping you guys will watch Smoke Signal or Imaginarium soon. I've been waiting for years.
Aren't you the leader of a group?
That is true. She has been waiting for years.
Maybe you can, maybe she could get the group to, like, because we're talking about the movie thing.
Nah. She's done enough.
You gonna make it happen?
Yeah, if we do it, we do it. We'll talk about it offline. But she doesn't need it. You don't need to assemble a group. Well, I will say this: if you can get, I'm gonna make a post, Pony, and if you can get 40 people to like it, we'll do it. I can't charge her. It's
Is-
literally been like 6-7 years.
For Imaginarium?
Yeah,
Yeah.
either one.
Well, Smoke Signals is the.
Yeah, she just got to choose.
Is Smoke Signals a show series?
That's a good point. I'm not sure. He did kill off the Jedi children as Darth Vader. Most would say he did so when he was embracing the Sith. His failures, though, come from his teachers. New Aesop Rock album is going to be called Black Hole Supret. That's interesting. Black Hole Supret. You know, I was actually introduced to Aesop Rocky on this channel. This is another one of those situations where, like, I wouldn't have,
Yep.
you know?
Facts.
Smoke Signals is a class.
It's a class. What does that mean, class? No. Who just said that? Where'd you get that?
It said right there. It's a class. Cecil said it.
What
Oh,
does
it's a
that mean?
classic. He said it's
Yeah.
a classic. Which means that it sounds like it's a movie. I'm one of 40. Yeah, I'm gonna put the post up in the village and in the Vin and Sori thing, Pony. So like, if you get 20 in the village and 20 in the Vin and Sori thing, it still counts.
Oh, it's a
Highs
movie.
with you. What was the DVD? Yeah, it's a movie.
Which
Yeah.
one? Which one would you rather, or Pony? Imaginarium,
That's a good
Smoke
question.
Signals, or the other DVD?
That's a good question. So Smoke Signals or Imaginarium? Which one's more important to you? But yeah, a local stray I've been feeding for the last year or so was really badly hurt while I was in Mexico, and we're finally able to catch it in a raccoon trap and took it to the vet. Damn!
Wow.
Of all the Sith, Darth Vader is the most bland. I agree.
The other thing too,
I agree.
Pony, if you can't decide which one you'd want, I could always put up a poll and see which one gets the most votes. It's up to you.
Free Naturalist. That name sounds so familiar. I really like this fireside, actually.
Good.
I'm enjoying it.
It happened at the right time.
I like the vibe. I remember the vibe. This is cool. All the subjects are all discombobulated. It's fun.
How is that?
It's decent. It's good.
Is it more better?
No,
The hell out of it.
not really. This thing right here. Soraya made like a super drink, a super cocktail. We put a bunch of rinds in here, a bunch of skins in here. My taste.
We're talking about fruit skins, okay? Not chicken or something weird.
Disgusting. But yeah, I love it, man. I drink probably close to a gallon of this a day. Like,
I don't know why you're saying close to. You drink a gallon a day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, you drink a gallon a day.
Everybody got sick a couple weeks ago. I was straight. I was fine.
It's true. I'll like drink like a little cup of it, but like a gallon. Ooh.
Always found it funny how they were happy that Anakin was to bring balance to the Force when there were thousands of Jedi and only 2 Sith. That's because the Sith were that bad, okay? The Sith. I said
It
we,
is.
as if I was part of the Sith. Allahu Akbar. You know, like the baseball fan, the Red Sox fans. We. I'm like, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? You didn't do shit.
Honestly, don't be offended by this.
Maybe you won't lose.
One-
Oh God!
one year.
Anytime you say "don't be offended," she's about to say some offensive shit. Let's
One
hear it.
year for one of the kids' birthdays, I won't say who. They went to the store because they wanted to get a certain thing for their birthday, and Vin took them. And when they came back, they did not have what they said that they were leaving to go to the store for. Instead, they came back with a speaker, and I thought.
That was that Homer Simpson shit.
I
was
thought.
like, are you sure?
Yes! He kept, you aren't sure, are you sure? Until the person changed their mind. And then turns out that they didn't actually even really want the speaker. And so guess where I found it? Boop. He was using it.
Well, I mean, if she wasn't,
I said, how did this happen?
you could, yeah, I'm not,
Dorian essentially said it was one of those. He didn't
Yeah,
use a
it's
Jedi.
a Jedi,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a Jedi mind trick. I use my
He's
powers
like,
for
we
you.
all know what happened.
Well, the thing is, like, she was like 7 or 8. I mean, what does a 7 or 8-year-old want? You know what I'm saying?
Not a speaker.
We're walking all over the place. She had
No.
no desires
Stop.
for anything.
That's
yeah.
so BS. She was older than that and she wanted an iPad.
We got her an iPad eventually.
Oh yeah, we did.
What the hell does a 7-year-old need with an iPad? You're homeschooled.
I
What do
said
you need an
speaker.
iPad for?
Why do you want that speaker? What can she even connect it to? Oh my gosh!
What the fuck happened to that speaker, bro?
I think it got left.
Every time the girls have a speaker, it ends up with me. Sailor got herself a speaker. It also ended up with me. Yeah!
Yeah, she tried to sell it. to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, she tried. I was like, bitch, get out of here.
I
You
don't want to do
silly
that.
shit to me, boy.
Next thing I know, it was gifted to him. I said, wow, this guy gets everything.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No price is paid at all.
No, none whatsoever.
None whatsoever. Jay says, just came back to say I love you guys no matter what goes down in life. You both are fam and I cherish knowing you. I'd legit take a bullet for you and yours, no question. Love you guys for real. Gang, gang. Appreciate you, man. You know, not enough people are out there expressing their emotions, so you know.
That's true. They're only expressing the masculine ones. Anger.
Drinking
So,
skins
did
and
you see
singing
that? That's what I was
fireside,
gonna
bust
point out.
open a Pepsi. Yeah, bro, I was so unhealthy, bro. I was
Yeah,
terrible.
Pepsis, Red Bulls, blah blah blah. I drink a lot of, a decent amount of water, and I like milk, whole milk.
So, Pony, what are we looking at? Which one do you want us to put the poll up for? Or maybe with the poll up. But
Sorry, let
If
me
we do the
call
poll-
you because I have stuff left. I have stuff to say.
oh well, you have your phone. Wasn't that what we used to do? We used to do that. But the thing is, like, there's no speaker. How are we gonna get it to translate?
What do you mean?
Cause how is it? Oh, you put it by the speaker. Okay.
That's what we used to do.
I think she texted you. All right. Let me see.
Morbid Angel, I like whiskey. Okay?
Let me say he likes whiskey. Did
Yeah.
Sori put any Red Bull in there? No.
No.
I've been taking L-theanine though. You guys should really try L-theanine for your concentration. It's really, really good. It worked today. Pretty good. And I needed it. So
It makes me so tired every
I'm
time
not
I take
sure
it.
because I took some of the glycinate. And the glycinate makes you
Make tired even
like
just
I'm
thinking about it.
crazy about my vitamins, y'all.
Yeah, he does really good.
You can stream your Discord audio when y'all chat. Ever play Baldur's Gate 3, my current obsession game? Raphael, the greatest gaming demon, greatest devil in the gaming universe. Is Baldur's Gate 3 an RPG? Is it an RPG or an action RPG? Because I think if you like centralize that thing and leave it there, that the mic will pick it up.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful mic.
Hold on.
What? Val Kilmer
Oh, wait,
died?
Hold on.
No!
Here we go. Hello. Hi. Hi.
Damn, Val Kilmer died. Rest in peace to the homie.
Oh. Okay. So what's up, Pony?
Hi, oh my gosh.
What'd she say?
Hi. Oh my gosh.
What are you oh my goshing for?
It's been so long, dude.
True story.
Facts.
Factual.
Yeah.
So what's up? What did you want to talk about?
Okay, there's a few things, okay? First
We're ready.
of all,
I bet you Bible movie's gonna come up. Go ahead.
yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Do you remember, Ben, do you remember when I asked you, tell me what book in the Bible to read?
What did I tell you?
John.
Or Genesis?
What was it?
What did I tell you?
No. You told me to read about Job.
Oh! How did it go?
You know, it's fucked up because I'm like, here he is, being just great and was being
say that again. He was being great, and what happened?
And I was being a shit. I was being honestly a bitch.
Well, I wouldn't say it that way.
I would. Because that's what I was.
So Job encouraged you to. He encouraged you to unbitchify yourself, though.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
I was reading about his story and stuff, and I'm like, because you told me, Bonnie, you should read this, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read it. And I went through and I made notes, and Job never cursed God, and then I was sitting there cursing God.
You were going through a pretty rough time, I remember.
Yeah, I was. But that doesn't excuse my behavior.
Well, there's a cross for your behavior. Right?
Yeah, but yeah. It was unexcusable.
She said that's not an excuse.
It was unexcusable.
Oh, unexcusable.
I hear you. You know what one of my favorite Bible verses is? It's not even a full verse. It says, He knows that we are dust. And then there's that passage in Job where it says, Job's friends are coming after him because even though he's not cursing God, he's not perfect. And you know how religious people are. And Job says, don't you know that the words of a despairing man are words for the wind? Like, it's words for the wind, man. Like, God knows you didn't really, really mean it. You know what I'm saying? But I agree with you. It's not.
At that time, I felt like I meant it at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that's cool too about that God is outside of time. So when he explains how we were, or when he explains how the people were in the Bible, you'll like read their story and you'll be like, wow, that person was coming unglued. But then when you hear God's interpretation of it, like they were full of faith, or they, you're looking at one snapshot of your life and God sees all of everything that happened and what your heart did during that, the whole time. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, with Job, I feel like, he lost literally his whole family. Right?
Yeah.
And the devil was like, that's Job. He's gonna curse you. He's gonna curse you. And God's like, no, he's not. And he never did.
Yeah, Job kept it gully for real. What were you thinking the first time you've ever heard that story? Sori.
Which story? About
The Job.
Well, we had always heard about the story of Job and how, like, he was, they kind of made it seem like he was perfect the entire time, and that he didn't have any meltdowns in the process, but,
yeah.
And there is that part that says that he didn't curse God,
Yeah.
or, so there was that, but as time progressed, like, the story of Job just absolutely deepened, because he, like, some of the things that he says, like, when the wind comes and he lost everything, and it was like really back to back to back to back when everything was happening. It's that phrase, like, when it rains, it pours, and he's in that situation where stuff is just getting worse and worse and worse, and then they come and they say, okay, the east wind or something blew, and the house that your kids were all in, like, it crashed down, and none of them lived. So he lost everything he had, and then as soon as his kids died, he said, what I feared has come upon me. And, like, that part is crazy because we all have different types of fear. And so, like, this Job situation, like, that was something that I thought about a lot, because I think all of us get tested to that point where what we fear comes upon us. And then it's like, okay, now what are we going to do with it? And then you just see, like, how his friends came, and they were miserable comforters. Like, they kept saying that he had sinned, and that's why it was happening to them. happening to him, and he was trying to like plead his case and be like, no, that's not what's happening here. But they like, I also kind of think that their friends are a little bit funny because they show up and like they sit down with him like for 7 days or something like that, and they don't say anything, which I think is pretty awesome. But then like Job starts talking, and as soon as he does, then they're like, and they start saying everything that they've been holding back that entire 7 days. And I also think about how hungry they probably were because they weren't eating. And
Sori's always going to think about food.
And they
doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter what the situation is. This man is suffering.
Yeah,
this nigga got boils on his skin. So he's like, damn, he's going to eat,
if
bro.
If only we had a sandwich. But
Make him a New York.
The story itself, I just think is just so like crazy to see how, and it doesn't tell us how long he was suffering for. But eventually, in the end, you know, like he gets everything restored to him. Well, I mean, he doesn't get his kids back, and you can't reverse the trauma that you endured when everything fell down on you and when you had to face the thing that you feared. But he says at the end of it, like James talks about it in the book of James, and it says that God was both compassionate and merciful. And you're like, what are you talking about?
He said you've heard of Job and how the intention of God, how he's kind and compassionate, gracious and compassionate. Yeah.
And it's like, what are you talking about? Everything that he went through. But then when you go back to the book of Job, and at the end of it, he says, before I heard of you through the hearing of the ear, but now my eye sees you. And like when you go through those experiences where you literally feel you're crushed beneath the thing that you feared the most, and from that you get a deeper understanding of who God is. And there's something about seeing God that makes you understand even yourself more. And like, I don't know, there was like such clarity that came from him. And he said, before I heard of you through the hearing of the ear, but now my eye sees you. And he says, therefore I repent in dust and ashes. Like he realized like something deeper about God through everything that he went through.
That's the true climax of the book. Him getting his daughters back and his riches back is not the climax of the book. The climax of the book is when he says, I've come to a deeper conscientious understanding of who and what you are, and I don't need, it is so great that I don't need explanations.
Right.
Like,
because God essentially shows up and asks him a bunch of
36 questions or something like that. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth and the morning stars shouted for joy and all this? And I remember reading that in my little attic room, and God is talking about the stork, where she gives birth to her child and then she leaves it for the animals because it says, because the Lord hasn't granted her wisdom. And like I could kind of I had this vision in my mind of like God laughing like, yeah, I mean, you're just dumb as hell, bro. I don't.
But I made you that way.
And then he talks about like Leviathan. And he's like, yeah, go ahead and wrestle him, see how that goes, you know. And he's like, it was just really like you could tell that he loved all these creatures that he's made. You know what I'm saying? And he's interrogating Job, and I'm like, yo, give this man a break, bro. Damn.
But it's a good book.
I have to say, okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go for it.
I have to say, when you recommended me to read Job, book, it was during Lent, and it was when I was, new to Catholicism. And I kept reading and wishing that I had read that when my parents passed away, because when all this stuff was going on, all this stuff, I'm not gonna divulge it here on live, but you guys know what I was going through.
Yeah.
And when you told me to read Job, I had read it, but not in the same way that I read it when you told me to read it. And there was a lot going on. I made notes. I whatever.
Yeah, that must have been
good.
a God thing because I always tell people
Yeah.
to read John
Yeah.
or Genesis.
Yeah, I was surprised too.
I just told my son, like, start from Genesis, bitch. Yeah, thank you, Pony, for sharing that, man, because, you know, you tell people things because you think God is speaking to you, and I remember thinking, like, I don't want her to feel like I'm being too hard on her, you know, but, like, hearing you talk and, like, you got the conviction, like, there was no excuse and all that, like, just remember, like Sori said, like, God knew that you'd have this phone call when you were cursing him, right? And so, like, you probably, you didn't go online on a public channel and say, fuck God, right? But here you are in a public, forum, you know,
Right.
glorifying God and saying it was worth it. You see what I'm saying? So when you were doing that in private, God saw that you were going to do this in public. Okay? So you gotta put all that shit literally on the cross and then just move on. He's proud of you for glorifying him here, and he loves that you're doing it. And we don't traffic in condemnation, right? Like, all the condemnation was put on Jesus. So you repented of it, you confessed it to all of us, right? And so, like, we're moving forward.
Now I'm worried that, like, I'm like the rich man and the beggar.
Yeah, but what does the scripture say? For freedom, Christ has set us free, right? So anything that is taking away from the freedom to be who God made you to be is not from him. So don't worry about the rich man and the beggar.
And remember,
Take it seriously, but don't worry about it, because
Yeah.
Jesus told you, don't worry about tomorrow. Somebody told me, I was in a bad spot like a couple weeks ago, and somebody told me, like, here's my verse, like, don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow has its own worries. And she said, ask yourself, am I okay right now? And if you're okay right now, then don't worry about tomorrow, because God's going to get you for tomorrow, because he's already there, right?
Well, I just have to thank you for suggesting that to me, because I feel like that really honestly helped me with a lot of what I was going through at the time.
that's good. That's really good. And remember one more thing, Pony, is that, like Vin said, for freedom, Christ has set us free. And then when you think about who the devil is, he's the accuser of the brethren. So when your own thoughts or your own heart starts accusing you, like, that's the devil. That's what he does. You know, like, you've been set free with Christ, and you can go forward with him. Like, you confessed it to him, you can go forward with him. You know, not let that bog you down or pull you down anymore.
You know, I have a thing to say, because Gia came back. I'm not Catholic, and because of you, Benjamin.
Wait, who's not Catholic? Gia?
No.
Or you?
I'm not Catholic. Yeah, because of you.
Good.
Jake is Catholic now. They all are. I'm the only Pentecostal here.
Good. Hold down the fort, inshallah.
Yeah.
You're gonna bring balance. You bring some Protestant balance to the force, damn it.
Right. Well, here's the stupid thing. The little Gia, she came to me yesterday, and she was like, Mom, you know, I can pray to the saints for intercession to help you quit smoking. I've been trying to quit smoking for years. And she's like, Mom, I can pray to the saints to help you quit smoking. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, she's worried about you.
She is.
Yeah, if it was my kids, they'd be like, "We're gonna buy you a pack, Dad, and
Stop.
another,
Stop.
and another,
That is such
and another."
baloney. Wow. Wow.
Rude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Liar. Lies.
That's good. Yeah, make sure our neighbors can't. Well, it's good talking to you, Pony. We got
Yeah,
about 3
I'm so
minutes
glad
left.
you called in. We love you very much.
Oh, wait. I have to tell you something. Let me tell you something. Okay. So, you were asking about smoke signals versus imaginary.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, smoke signals, I feel, because I look white, but I'm native. Okay, I'm half native. Smoke signals is very much important to me and my culture. Imaginarium is very much important to me and mental health. So, I advise that you watch both.
And with that, you're off. Remember that alien did
that's where it was
that? That
going.
alien did that with the. I advise that you watch them both. Allahu Akbar.
She tried to put some emotional reasons on both of it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is my people.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah, I look white,
Imaginarium.
but,
I look white, but I'm 50% native. Shout out to Elizabeth Warren. Get out of here.
Recipe book on its way.
Get out of here. All right, guys, we got 2 minutes left. We got 2 minutes. Let us know. Put a bunch of 22s if you want a fireside tomorrow. Do we have anything scheduled for tomorrow?
I don't know.
Tomorrow's April 2nd.
I don't know.
I don't think so. Put 22 down if you want a fireside tomorrow. Put 22 down if you want a fireside tomorrow. If we do one tomorrow, it will not be at freaking 11 o'clock. Okay? I'm not going to take my shower and then Shorty's going to be... If we don't get enough 22s, we will not do the fireside. I'm not fucking with y'all. I'm not playing with you.
Yes.
Isn't that Kevin Samuels? If you guys don't like the thing,
No,
you're
he just shutting it down. He really did it too.
I'm on my Warren, Seth energy.
You
where
did that one
the
time,
guy
too.
wouldn't let the church. But Tim says 42. I wonder if it's weird to say that as an agnostic that doesn't know one way or another. One proving point to God is how my dog Gus developed an overly aggressive leukemia that killed him in a month. Yeah, bro, I remember you was going through that shit online, bro. That helped you believe in God? That shit is crazy. Like, God's so weird, bro.
Mandatory fireside is one of the best things on the internet.
I
You know
think
what?
so. I think so.
Losing your pet is no joke, and people that don't know don't know. It's
I agree with that.
really difficult. It's horrible.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a pet pretty soon here, actually.
Oh yeah, I was looking into these it's like
The rescues or whatever.
poodles, but they're not. It's
little
a
ones?
golden retriever. Well, yeah, you get a teacup version of the. It's a poodle golden retriever mix, and they don't shed and they don't
Oh, shit.
stink.
Wow.
But you do have to trim their hair.
Thank you for looking for that for me. Sure. For sure. All right, guys. Would to talk with you two offline. Soon, inshallah. Okay, guys. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. We'll see you guys tomorrow because I think we got enough 22s. We got enough 22s, so we're going to see you guys tomorrow in the fireside. I'm going to do my best to let you guys know. We're going to communicate. We didn't communicate to the patrons. Remember you used to do that? You used to load up Patreon and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So we're gonna do our best to put out
Make it a little
Patreon.
hectic.
Also check us out on YouTube Shorts. We've got YouTube Shorts. They're doing really well. You should check them out and be sure them with a friend. Do me a favor for the homie. DM me the prices for movies and shows and stuff. Okay, I will do that for you. Am I calling tonight or not? Not tonight, but maybe tomorrow we'll have that discussion, inshallah. All right, guys. Much love to all you beautiful people. That means I love you. That's why you do it 3 times, because it's I love you, I love you.
Facts.
So it's actually literally like 9 times. Right? Okay.
Yep, that's true. That's very
3,
cute.
6,
Yes.
9.
I got it. That's cute.
Put 23 down if you want me to smash Vin in an electoral debate.
Oh my gosh. All right, you guys. Have a good night.
Vin out.
Sori out.